We ready? Good evening, everybody. We're going to go right to the city manager's report.
Okay, on tonight, number one, Mayor, is there's a resolution, the 2024 Anderson Street NPP grant extension. That's what this is about, Deputy Mayor, it's just an extension until 2025 that they had to apply for because there's still some details going into the design and everything for it.
Okay.
So that's why there's no presentation.
No presentation.
Right. Also on tonight is a resolution for Bergen County Shared Services Agreement for tree removal. This is just a standardized agreement that if there's any trees that are on a county roadway or any trees that are deemed to be county, that we will work with them in getting the trees removed. They will remove them if we request it. And this is just a shared services agreement to do so. Regarding this, we need to discuss regarding a Serenity Garden at Stide Park. We have approximately $135,000 that was originally assigned for a pocket park, that we'd like to use that money to address a possible or address putting a Serenity Park in Stide Park. There will be, based on our initial design, I've been talking to Al Dib about this as well. The garden, it could cost, because its proximity at Stide Park to the brook that's there, we may require some DEP permitting and some other items. So in order to do that, it's going to exceed the $135,000 probably, more closer to $300,000. But the reason why we're discussing what we're discussing tonight is that I need to seek your approval to not divert but change that funding that we do have in place for the pocket parks to go to the Serenity Park at Stide Park.
I just think, there's a number of things. Number one, we should be certainly looking at whatever grant money we can get our hands on for that.
Absolutely.
And I think that we have to plead our case with DEP, that we're taking an impervious surface, we're looking at broken up or whatever, concrete, macadam, whatever it may be, and we're turning it into a pervious. So the adjacency to the brook, all these things are very positive what we're doing. And I think we need to be strong with them to the effect of understand what we're really doing, and maybe some of this permitting could be either waived or combined together to keep our costs a little bit lower.
I certainly will ask that. You know what it's like dealing with the DEP, but I certainly will ask that.
But we have to try.
Yes.
I mean,
absolutely.
I think we have to plead our case,
try,
and we have to try.
Yeah.
Because they don't understand what this project is 100% about. They don't really understand or see what it looks like or understand that we're taking and we're breaking up an impervious surface here, which is what they want. These are things that are very positive for the city. And yeah, there's going to be guidelines, there are going to be things that have to be tested, but I think we have to push the envelope a little bit with everybody, especially in these financial times. We have to be a little bit more careful. That's all I'm saying.
Understood.
Yeah, it's definitely beneficial considering, we get these 50, 100-year storms in Coles Brook. Just anybody that knows that area, it just rages like a river. And that, having an impervious area like that in front of where it really bottlenecks down by Madison, where they really get hit hard, is a great idea. So that has to be expressed.
They should be paying us to do it, Mayor.
Well, yeah, I don't disagree. But we should definitely, like the deputy mayor said, let's check with our grant people and see what's out there.
Vinny, are those costs all encompassing? Like, what if we look to different organizations for donations or volunteers to do some of the work
That hasn't been put
Okay.
into the design yet.
Okay.
A lot of, believe it or not, a good portion of the cost is the
Permits.
permitting
Okay.
with the, to put it there, believe it or
Okay.
not. It's a lot of
That's when
money.
we were not, that
Yeah.
was not part of our expectation for this
Right.
project. And that's, it's one right on top of the other. It's a lot of permits and they're expensive because you've got to pay for the application, you've got to pay for the engineering to
Correct.
do the
Correct.
application, then you got to pay the permit fees, and
Right.
the analysis that might need to be done. Doing all of the permitting one on top of the other.
Is the
So
most
I
of the
think
cost.
we need to plead our case. I think
Yeah.
we should be doing that anyway, but I want to make
Right.
sure we're doing that here.
Absolutely.
Because we all know it's a priority, it's something that would definitely be a huge improvement to the park. but also, as John said, you know, improvements in managing stormwater, 100%.
Is it feasible, I don't know if, will they come up here and meet with us?
The DEP?
Yeah. At the
They've come
site?
here before.
And
Yeah,
show
I'm
them,
sure-
you know,
I'm sure if we
preliminarily show them
requested it, they
a
would.
plan, or
Right.
what our plan is. or,
Yeah,
you know,
once we get,
ideas.
once we get to that point, I don't see why they wouldn't.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the benefit to the environment and everything else, I think it's a home run.
Okay.
Plus, it'd be great for the community.
Yes. Number 4, the ordinance is back on for the increase in monthly parking fees. We had pulled that, as you know, last meeting because of, we had some questions about the EV chargers, and the cost. So that's, been corrected and is on for tonight.
Right, and we upped it from 5 to 25.
Correct. And all the other increases, which haven't taken place since 2003, I believe it was, are in there as well.
I discussed this, I talked to Jackie about this.
Yeah.
I think the one thing we have to continue to look at here is, what's the process for this? This is something new. So no one's gonna call up and say, oh, I have 5 EV cards, let me send you a check, okay?
Right.
So I don't know, you know, with the monthly parking, do they have to give makes and models of cars when they do it? Is there a certain restriction?
I do not believe so.
Now, we're gonna have to figure it out, because who's gonna offer to pay for it?
Right.
So
Right.
I think that whatever the process is, I think we're gonna have to define that, so that we know how many, you know, hey, you're renting 30 spaces, how many people do you expect to be driving, have EV cars?
Right, right, okay.
And really, it's just, this $25 is just paying that price, or that premium, because we provide that service within the garage that they can then go and use the EV charging station, so it makes it
Right.
a nicer plus to them to have that in the garage.
Two things, we probably should reach out to Tesla, because Tesla is now putting supercharger stations all over the
Mhm.
place. Hackensack can be a destination for that, and it can be in some of our parking areas. The other thing is, and this happens where I work at the hospital, so an EV pulls in, it goes to one of the superchargers that is supplied there by the hospital. It's a 2-hour charge. It takes 2 hours to charge that car in the supercharger, but that car sits there for 8-10 hours, you know, which is a total waste, so there,
Yeah,
is
because
there
you
a
could
way
be
to
charging 3 other
limit?
vehicles during that time.
Yeah, 4 other people could get charged. Is there a way to, you know, limit the amount of time you park at one of these chargers?
But again, that's all gotta be policed.
Yeah.
So our
Yeah.
traffic people, our
PEOs. will have to
PEOs
check
to go home
that,
at
yeah.
4 o'clock.
Yeah.
So
That's a
during the
problem.
day, they could keep track of it, John.
It's a shame because people don't
It
get to
is.
charge their cars, because one guy's got the charger.
We
on.
had that concern, Mayor, when I was looking into, last year we were looking into putting them on Main Street. Actually, a couple locations to have public chargers, EV chargers there. And the part of the discussion that came up was, how do you stop somebody from
Parking.
parking their car there, hooking up to the charger, and then just walking away and not coming back for 6 to 8 hours?
Yeah.
You know what I
Plus, you
mean?
lose
So-
a parking spot.
Yeah,
you know,
and
everyone-
we would lose the revenue
You
from the
lose the
parking
revenue
spot.
from the parking
Right,
spot, too.
exactly. You know
So,
what I
you know,
mean?
there's multiple,
Yeah.
but I think we just, I mean, I'm glad that we're doing it in the garage, but I think we have to define the process so we know how we enforce it and how we manage it and how we check on all of these things. No one's really thought of that yet,
Yeah.
so.
Can always change it as we go
Yes, we
along,
can always amend it, yes.
so.
Last but not least, I will call up Chris Wheaton, our city engineer, for the CSO and stormwater and parks update.
Evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Okay, jumping into our CSO and construction projects. Frank said, oh, there he is. I don't see Frank anymore, so it's a little bit of a mystery. Okay. This is just a quick overview of our delivery schedule for construction and design projects, the major projects. Nothing has changed in this since our meeting last time. Getting into our CSO, or combined sewer system separation projects. We're currently working on the Anderson Street project. Again, we're adding about more than 20 acres to the 80 acres that have been separated already in the city. On the Anderson Street project, we are continuing to make good progress, and the progress is shown here. There's a lot to cover. I think we're continuing to make good progress, and coordination is ongoing with the utilities. Veolia is presently on Clay Street, and PSE&G is working on Burdan and James, And it's very important that we get that work done so that then we can move on and install the storm culvert in those areas now that we have the sanitary installed. Our Voorhees Lane pump station was started up a couple weeks ago. We are having some operational issues with this station as we're encountering materials that are coming down the pipe. The pipe leading to the wet well for the pump station. We are seeing wipes, we are seeing some other materials. It appears that this is perhaps an accumulation of debris that's been deposited over several years. The hydraulics to this station, the slope of the pipe to this station is improved, is better than the influent pipe to the old pump station. So we have a better velocity, and we're seeing that material resulting in our station. We are also doing some source determination to go upstream with our CCTV and identify if there are any improper discharges happening that are causing some of our problems. So we're working through those issues now.
Could we go back to that for a minute? So this is a non-CSO sewer.
Correct.
So where do you think this is coming
From what people are putting down the sanitary sewer, whatever they're flushing, whatever they're discharging. There are industries in the area, there are dry cleaners in the area, and
from? But you have non-CSO, so it's a non-combined sewer, right?
So it's just sewage. It's
this
sanitary,
is,
but that's
this
what-
this should be just, it should be just sewage.
Okay.
That's
It doesn't
our-
belong in there, like the
Okay.
wipes and, yeah.
All right, thank you.
Uh-huh. We are also presently working on a hazard mitigation grant project for the southern portion of the city. This area, shown in red, is going to add about another 80 acres of combined sewer and stormwater improvements. And we're currently doing CCTV. If we want to move on to the next slide. Our CCTV program is just about complete. We're going to be wrapping up this month, 96% complete. We've done about 34 miles of sewers and getting some, important data for our design of the new infrastructure that will handle additional stormwater flow. In parks, Carver Park, we are complete with concrete. Our cameras and conduit installation is pending.
Bless you.
And we will be finishing up the project this month. I should say weather dependent, of course, because we cannot surface the courts or do paving when it's raining. So, but that's the expectation. We have about really very, very little work remaining in this project, and we want to wrap it up as soon as possible, as does the contractor.
Real quick, Chris, on that, have we put topsoil in there, and have they put grass seed down yet?
No, that hasn't happened yet because we want to
really need
get.
to jump on that, because we're gonna miss out on,
We've been having that very same discussion. So we just, it's the city's responsibility to put in the cameras, the conduit for the cameras.
okay?
So that's what we're working on right now, is getting that conduit installed and the cameras installed. So once that conduit is, if we have to install it after the topsoil goes in and the landscaping is done, that's not the end of the world. It would be a small trench, but we'd like to get that in before, before we finish the
Okay. Yeah,
landscaping if
let's-
possible. So
I would try
that
to
decision is going to be
expedite
made
that.
tomorrow or the day after.
Because it's gonna be hard enough to get to keep people off the growing grass, it's gonna be a problem. Which, early spring is the best time to really, get that seed in there.
Yes, agreed. Thank you, Mayor.
Chris, do you have a separate status on the pipes, the retention pipes that are gonna go into Carver Park, or we're gonna talk about that here?
I don't have a slide on that, so
All right, just quickly, because it's on the agenda tonight, so with all of these additional activities that seem to be being required, have yourself or Ryan, were you spoken yourself to the state to discuss or talk about whether all of this stuff is really 100% necessary to pertain to the grant, or are we just relying on Suburban doing that?
it's quite it's been evident from the communications back and forth that this is required. It
But
is,
have we, the city,
we have not.
right,
We have not
in some
personally.
of
There,
these things, I think we need to be a little more proactive. You know, we know that these engineering firms make a ton of money on this stuff, okay? And, so it's easy for them, you know, to want to do these things as well. I just think it's important that the city should just, a couple of phone calls, just verifying and maybe explaining what we're really doing and why we're doing it and the costs associated with it and does it really make sense for us? And just get a, you know, a second opinion. You know, when you're spending this kind of money, I think it's always worth it to have at least a second opinion.
so noted. Will do. Johnson Park, we're just putting the finishing touches on these documents, and I expect to have them on to finance at the end of this week for review for bid advertisement.
Just please make sure we have the discussion that there's gonna be lines on that field for other sports besides soccer.
I
And-
thought that discussion was happening on the council side.
Well, who's directing that from Suburban?
This is the architect's delivery presently. It's, so that's HQW.
Could
So-
you go back to the picture so we can, yeah.
Sure.
So through the clerk, just make sure make sure the clerk gets that contact number and she gets it to me so I can have a discussion with them.
Okay, certainly.
Can we zoom in on this a little?
Probably. Yeah. So this, yeah, this doesn't reflect any changes. I know there was a lot of conversation about this last month. Nothing has changed as we've been.
Okay, so I have someone who ran Hackensack Junior Football in the audience tonight, and Gary Terzano, who's involved in the city in many different ways. But back in the day when I coached, my kids played football, Gary and Walter Carroll ran the junior program, correct, Gary? So can you pull out on that, Frank? Thank you. As you can see, they broke that down into like quadrants inside that field, all right? We were looking, and we promised Hackensack Junior Wrestling, junior football, that there would be a place for them to play indoors and to practice. But in order to do that, you need the designated delineated lines to play football. There's no 5-yard markers, nothing on this. So Councilman Pataglia and I have had a little disagreement along with Councilman Carroll about this needs to be lined for football, probably should be lined as well for field hockey. All the taxpayers in town, not just soccer parents, pay for that field. Football parents pay for it. We all pay for it. So it should be available to all sports, and it should be shared equally. That's pretty much the consensus of the council, I think.
Yeah, and there's plenty of outdoor fields that are marked for all three, that you have plenty of examples. I mean, just go on.
Our high school field, for one.
Our high school field for one, but even if you go out and Google, you'll get plenty of examples, Christie, you could share with the engineering firm. to have.
So we've even said they don't have to be, they can be like gold lines versus white lines. He says it's a problem for the kids to play soccer on a field with football lines, and I go, it's done all the time. So, you know, I just wanted your opinion on that. Go ahead, Gary.
Mayor, would that apply for every one of those four?
No, those four would basically entail one full football field. That's like a full soccer field broken down into quadrants for smaller, and it can be, and I'm surprised they did it like that, because that design doesn't, and there's two going the other way as well, if you look.
Well, what's the length of the?
There's not sufficient distance for a full-size football field. This would be scaled for junior football.
Junior football.
No,
Junior football
that's
plays-
not entirely true.
Yeah, you could do a full.
You can do a full football field there. Unfortunately, the end zones will be shortened, but you still get 100, you still get the 100 yards of football that is needed.
The only reason why I should get, the only reason I say that, I think the junior high school near Board of Ed in Paramus, had a old, cinder track, but that had been, and the field was remodeled with turf. It's like a junior football field. I don't think it's a true 100 yards.
Even if
Correct.
it was a little shorter, because the juniors play, the C team plays on a shorter field than the blue and gold. But I think we could still fit the 100-yarder in there.
The 100-yard field will fit in the dome there, except the end zones, instead of being the full length of the end zones, will only be shortened, I believe, by 5 yards. That's the only, I believe it's just shortened by 5 yards, the end zones.
I apologize for not being a football person, but for practice time, would it make sense that folks could come and practice and not need the whole field?
Correct.
Okay, so there's
Correct.
ways, when you need to have a game, you require the whole field. So it would all be about scheduling. So
Correct.
there'd be practice scheduling and there would be full game scheduling, just like there would be for soccer, right?
And the ideal situation is you
For any
share the
sport,
field.
yeah.
Right, right. So, just wanted to get that out of the way. Thank you, Gary.
Maybe
Sorry,
we could
Chris.
work on that for the next meeting.
We did provide a number of examples to City Manager's office, which were relayed to the council for review and consideration.
Or so you have a bunch for the council to
We
look
They-
at?
sent them
They
to-
were sent by Jacqueline.
All right.
um,
Have you,
last
have you
month.
guys decided on one that you like? No? The ones that were sent, did you guys look at them?
I have to take a look, but.
All right.
That was the last meeting they were sent, I think, prior to the last
Or
meeting.
maybe we could decide, folks, right?
Yeah, we gotta get moving on that.
Mhm. So we don't hold it up.
Where we at? Prospect Ave?
Moving on. We're on Polyfly Park drainage improvements. This project will be starting in about 2 weeks, and we're going to do our best to keep the majority of the park in service while work is going on with appropriate, construction safety precautions. We'll be doing drainage improvements from the downstream, from the downstream or downhill side and working up the hill. So on this figure from right to left. The Prospect Ave pedestrian safety project is on the docket to be awarded this evening. So the award is pending for $431,000. The project is funded by a grant from NJOT for $460,000. So this is a real boon for the city to have, to be able to get these grants to accomplish these kinds of projects. So it's providing a new crosswalk at Atlantic Street across Prospect, as well as a new crosswalks at Thompson.
Chris, I'm assuming these overheads, that's on the Atlantic crosswalk?
Yes.
Okay.
For John Earl, we're finishing up here as well. The lighting has been installed, and we're putting the finishing, we're finishing the interior painting and trim and furniture. So the counters are going in, the flooring and tile, as you see. The bathroom fixtures are being installed, and we now have electricity to the outside street lights.
The landscaping was done the past couple of days, too.
I think this is a picture from today from Ryan. They did put the topsoil in, but,
I heard there's
are there
bushes and everything in already.
oh, okay. I'll drive by as I leave tonight, just to see.
Are we still on track for
As far as I
occupancy?
know,
Okay.
as far as I know.
Okay.
Chris, I have a question. I
Yeah.
was over there the other day. In the front of the building, there's all these nice wood floors. Why are we putting carpet here? Why didn't we just resurface, resand the floors?
They're not in, I mean, I actually don't know,
I mean,
the
just
scope.
it's easier to maintain than the carpet, and it looks a heck of a lot
The,
nicer too.
the scope of the project was established about the same time that I was hired, so this project was given to the architect with, like I say.
Just out of
it-
curiosity, could you just let me know,
it-
maybe there's something
I don't think
structurally-
I don't think they're as clear, as
took
clean
a
and
pretty good look
refurbishable,
at
because
them.
there is a lot of water damage,
Yeah, but
is,
you sand and, you can do a lot with that. All right, just let me know, I'm just curious, because they
We-
really look pretty good.
One of the things that I noticed the last time I was there for an inspection was, and the hardwood floors were still there, they were severely damaged. I don't know if they were damaged, during construction, because it looks like they were damaged during construction, where
I
stuff
think-
was dragged
Yeah.
Yeah, they probably
across the
didn't care
floor.
because they were putting the carpet
Yes.
in.
Yeah.
To me, it's just, for maintenance purposes and cleanliness purposes,
Well,
carpets.
the only thing I can say, I totally agree, is the type of carpeting that went in is commercial grade squares,
Yeah.
which if there
I
is
believe that.
damage, you pull a square up
I know,
and put a
but
new
they're
square down.
Not so
but
attractive, the wood floor.
I know what you're saying.
I-
Can't beat- you
I was
can't
just
beat
curious,
hardwood,
I was
but-
surprised that we were putting the
Yeah,
carpet in.
I agree. It is a conversation that we've had as we've walked through the building. We will be keeping the front entry foyer. We'll retain the wood finish and have a city logo in the floor. So you'll see it there at least. But maybe when we get to the second floor, we'll have more
Are we
options.
doing the second floor? Is the
Not-
command center's
no.
gonna be on the first floor now, right?
I guess I shouldn't have mentioned that. Someday, someday when we do the second floor.
Not in the current plan, right?
It's
Because
not
I
in the
know
current
that-
plan.
We're
That's
watching the financing, right, Jim? So
Right.
it's not in the current plan.
No.
Okay, thank you.
We're good?
You're welcome. And just a reminder, everybody, do your part to not flush wipes or anything that's not human waste or toilet paper down the toilet. It's a real problem for sewer maintenance. It causes a lot of damage and it causes added costs to the city. That's all for this evening, unless there's any
Thank you, Chris.
questions.
Any questions?
I guess.
Is there any update for Sheeny with the E DEP?
We did have a meeting with DEP. We've had a couple more back and forths after that meeting. There will be mitigation required. They're not going to relax the 150-foot
Steph,
buffer.
I have, that's for something I had for executive
Okay,
session. And
okay.
here's the
Okay.
new
Okay,
plan that addresses that. That's
thank you, Chris.
not good.
Is it Eagle thing? Is it Eagle issue?
Yes, Paul. And I'm sorry, one other thing came to mind as you were talking about the Serenity Garden at Stide Park. We would certainly request a pre-application meeting with DEP. It would be appropriate to have the concept plan from Colliers in hand, I think, before we have that pre-application meeting, so that they can see specifically what it is that's being proposed.
If they come here, I would like to take them there, let them see what the conditions and.
I'm not
what-
sure if they will come here.
I agree, but I'm saying if they would, that would be what we should do, is meet down there.
Well, if we have to go there, we should definitely bring
You know, if we don't go there, we just do a
displays,
Zoom.
pictures, whatever,
do
you know,
Zoom.
show them, or Zoom. Yeah.
Yeah. If they won't come, I think we can just do this.
And Deputy Mayor, we did make the same, we did have the same discussion with the project manager from Colliers on, you know, we're improving the characteristics of drainage in this, of infiltration in this site by tearing out the parking lot.
That's why I said they should be paying us.
Yeah, the engineer's expertise is that doesn't matter for this project.
Never hurts to
we're
ask,
doing-
right, Chris? It never hurts to ask.
Doesn't
Then you
hurt to
can-
ask, but
you know,
don't
never
hold
hurts.
your breath, I guess.
Okay, thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Need a motion to open to the public, please?
Offer.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
None opposed? Anyone from the public would like to speak? The microphone is yours. Please come forward. You'll have 3 minutes. I know Frank's around here somewhere. Frank, can you hear me?
He's in the closet.
It's in that room.
Is this new?
Okay.
Good evening, Marty Smith, Prospect Avenue. I'm wondering if we have a timeline for the installation of the flashing beacon pedestrian crossing signs for Prospect Avenue at Berry Street and Golf. I know we have had a $400,000 grant for upgrades to safety devices on Prospect. Do we know that might be done?
Chris will answer that for you, Mr. Smith. She's right behind you. She'll answer that.
So we have spoken to traffic about putting flashing pedestrian beacons at those locations. It's a budget item that needs to be funded. I think we may have a portion of that, but we don't.
Well, I thought we had a grant for that for Prospect
Getting it up
Avenue
on
of
the Lemon Street.
$400,000.
We could potentially apply for another grant for these locations.
That, the money,
Okay.
Chris, explain to him the ones you presented tonight was the grant.
Right,
He knows that, right?
Okay.
okay. All right.
Thanks,
Say
Chris.
that, okay.
In a recent Record article about a week and a half ago, nearly $2 million in grants provided for pedestrian safety in New Jersey. Here in Bergen County, Hackensack is scheduled, I believe, to receive about $1 million for upgrades to railroad crossings for pavement and signals. Now, I know that most of the railroad crossings in Hackensack are in good condition. There may be a couple that need it. As far as the type of signals that they're referring to, as far as upgrades are concerned, I don't know if they're talking about gates or they're talking about lights or things of this nature. So I think there will be enough funds available to take care of that project. The last thing I'd like to mention, all municipalities have a speed limit of 25 miles an hour in school zones. Hackensack High School, the elementary school on Central Avenue have 25-mile-an-hour zones. I'm wondering, why does Hackensack Avenue at Bergen Tech Academy have a speed limit of 40 miles an hour? Now, that 40-mile-an-hour speed limit runs southbound from Route 4 to the Sears parking lot, where there is a 35-mile-an-hour speed limit that takes effect at that point. Now, I don't know why we should have a 40-mile-an-hour speed limit there. I know it's a county road, and my own personal opinion from past experience with the county is that county seems to be enamored of faster speeds on county roads here in Hackensack. But I think if that is the rule of thumb for all school districts, that street should have a lower speed limit. Okay.
Mr. Smith, one thing I'd like to just let you know about with that particular intersection, the county is funding entirely funding the project to put a traffic light at the entrance to Bergen Tech there with turning lanes, which is going to definitely slow down traffic coming southbound and northbound in front of Bergen Tech. They've finally come to the realization that the traffic coming in and out of Bergen Tech is so bad, and we had a student pedestrian struck a couple months ago right in front of Bergen Tech over there. So there is improvements coming to the entrance in and out of Tech there, where they're going to put a signal and turning lanes. They're going to widen the roadway. So that's forthcoming, I would say, probably in the next 12 to 18 months.
Okay. Thank you
All right.
very much. Thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
Next person from the audience, anybody? Come on up, man.
Good evening. My name is Jan Schleier, and I live on Berkshire Place. I'm here really in an unusual cause. So I am Director of Health Services at Bergen's Promise. Bergen's Promise is here in Hackensack, 3 University Plaza. We're actually right next to the sports complex. And we've served about 10,000 children within the county, 2,000 within the district, and hundreds here in Hackensack. What Bergen's Promise does is, no matter what the income level is, rich, poor, whatever, we offer services to children with mental health issues, intellectual developmental issues, and substance use issues. So we're having our first inaugural legislative breakfast on May 3rd, and over 200 people are coming. Some state senators, Shavonda Sumter is going to be speaking. We have a couple of mayors, one from Saddlebrook. I have invitations, which I think you've gotten by email, for each of you. We would love somebody to represent Hackensack, and that's really why I'm here. I don't know if I'm allowed to
You can give it to the
give them
clerk.
to
I'm
you.
actually working on it because my wife, being an educator in Hackensack for years, was reached out to by
Assistant Superintendent Rosemary Marks last week.
Yeah.
And
I-
I'm trying to, because I work during the day, I'm trying to
Right.
check my schedule, but
Yeah.
I'm going to do my best to get there.
Thank you very much, and also to the school systems who've been wonderful working with us, with the children, and the police department. They were here at our facility. They're going to be doing an active shooter drill with
nice.
us, and it's been wonderful, and we hope to see some of you there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Gary Tizano, Fairmount Avenue. In regards to the Serenity Garden, I'm glad to hear that some progress is being made. Just to bring Mr. Caruso up to speed, because he wasn't around in those days, in 2019, Ted Ehrenberg, the city manager at the time, had basically a meeting in the park. In those days, it was around having a dog park there in the wooded area. So the public was invited, many from the neighborhood came that day, and things somehow morphed into looking at that asphalt lot, which used to be an ice skating rink and a basketball court many, many years ago, and possibly how we could get rid of the asphalt. Deputy Mayor Canestrino met with Mr. Joe Summers, a neighbor in that person in that neighborhood, and we said, let's maybe just get the asphalt out and put grass in there, and then move from there. And then the idea of a Serenity Garden came up, where the Environmental Commission at the time was trying to spearhead the ideas. And then since then, the Garden Club of Hackensack has started and is very enthusiastic, waiting in the wings to possibly donate, because we are getting a lot of funds to plant, whether they're pollinator gardens and such. We did have a presentation here shortly after that by one of the Environmental Commission people, Pedro Del Vecchio, who's an educator in town. And she made a presentation here and showed some concepts about what a Serenity Garden would look like in that area. I believe that the asphalt is probably the most expensive item to be removed, and then the permits. But Coles Brook is a tributary of the Hackensack River. We shouldn't have any problem with DEP. The Hackensack Riverkeeper found out that they could go there now and start cleaning along the brook. So they like to advertise that. But I'm quite sure they probably could get a lot of grants for us, for Hackensack, to be a partner in getting that renovated and what has to be. I agree with the mayor. The water comes out of, the storm water comes off the Lowe's project in that parking lot up there in Paramus. There's a main tributary that comes into Coles Brook further down near Main Street that comes out of the Ridgewood, River Edge neighborhood. And it's as wide as Coles Brook and gets wider when the flooding comes. So there's a lot of factors that contribute to that flooding. Down in the gorge, it really races down there near Main, all the way up to maybe Lewis, let's say, on top, plus the debris that gets thrown in from landscapers and such. So anyway, I'm happy to hear. I'm willing to work with you as a resident. I'm not on the Environmental Commission anymore, but that's been a passion of the Environmental Commission and many in the neighborhood to renovate that area and have a beautiful Serenity Garden with paths. Doesn't have to be a lot. Paths, flowers, some benches. It'll take the place of having a dog park. People can still walk their animals in there if they wish. So it'll be 1,000% improvement over what's there right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Gary.
Hi, I'm Janet Wicca, and I'm on the Environmental Commission and on the Green Team, and we're very happy to hear about this Side Park happening. And I agree with everything Gary said. It's a long time coming, but it also is exciting because of the recent use of sponge gardens to help absorb water along watersheds. And I think the DEP and, like Gary said, the river keepers would help us design quite a wonderful place. I think it'll fill with flowers and rose bushes and native plants that absorb water. So I think I can envision it, and then we can have some pathways through it. Maybe not cement pathways, maybe actually made out of stone. Make it really a very pleasant place to sit, and people could sit along the creek there. I think it could be very nice. And since that drain, there's that huge drain in the middle there, I think that may find that it provides water from other towns or something might be flowing through there. I think it might help with the watershed, and it could be sewer pipes even. You know that there's a big, huge drain in there, so I think it will improve the flooding, hopefully.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you, Janet. Anyone else from the public? Motion to close?
Offer.
All in favor?
Aye.
None opposed? So we're gonna go back into closed session for a small bit and be back right around 8 o'clock, all right? Thank you, everybody. If you're leaving, have a wonderful evening. patient. Madam Clerk?
Okay, we need to call the meeting to order because we're not closing the other meeting yet.
Okay.
Okay, this meeting is being held in accordance with the Open Public Meeting Act, NJSA 10:4-6 et sec, notice of which was sent to the record in the Star Ledger and was posted on the municipal bulletin board.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Von Rudenberg.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Canestrino.
Here.
Councilmember Pataglia is absent. Councilmember Carroll.
Here.
Mayor LaBrus.
Here. Would everybody please rise for the flag salute? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. So we do have a couple proclamations tonight, and we'll start out with the Education and Sharing Day, and I see Rabbi Mendy Maneker is here. So, would you like to come up while I read this? You could bring your children. Good to see you, Micah. How are you? Good to see you. Everything's good? So we have a proclamation from the office of the mayor. Yes, why not? Thank you. Testing, it's working. Whereas April 19th, 2024 will mark 122 years since Rabbi Menachem Schneerson, did I say that correctly?
Perfect.
Pretty good, thank you. Both a global spiritual leader and tireless advocate for youth around the world, emphasized the importance of education and good character. And whereas this year begins the celebration of the 75th anniversary of his leadership of the Chabad Lubavitch movement. Chabad is an acronym of 3 words for wisdom, understanding, and knowledge. The name Lubavitch comes from the city which served as the movement's headquarters for over a century and means city of love. Love of wisdom, love of fellow man, and love of our Creator have guided Chabad Lubavitch movement throughout its history and are the essence of education at its best and should pass to all young people. And, bring them up. Oh, they're good? Okay. And whereas in recognition of the Rebbe's outstanding and lasting contributions, Congress has established his birth date as a national day to raise awareness that even a single positive act of an individual can change the world. And whereas the character of our young people is strengthened by serving a cause greater than self and by the anchor of virtues, including courage and compassion, by instilling a spirit of service in our children, we create a more optimistic future for them. Now, therefore, I, John P. LaBrosse, Jr., Mayor of the City of Hackensack, along with the members of this City Council, do hereby proclaim the date of April 19th, 2024, as Education and Sharing Day in the City of Hackensack, and call upon everyone to reach out to those within their community to work together to create a brighter, kinder, and more promising future for all. So, yes, it's an honor to be able to read this tonight. I know I think we've done it in the past.
You guys want to join us?
You guys want to come on up?
Yes, please.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it. Thank you. Take care. Thank you for reminding us to do that again.
Yes, and thank you
Yep.
guys for all of the wonderful work that you guys do, all of you. And I know it's a sometimes thankless job, maybe often thankless job, but it's always appreciated because I see constantly every day. I'm in the city, I talk to people, I see how people are engaged and involved in the city. They're happy to see the city growing. So thank you guys for everything that you do.
Thank you,
Thank
Rabbi.
you,
I
Rabbi.
appreciate that. And I do have another proclamation. It's about Bring the Child to Work Day, which is always exciting. We're having that here in the city. What day is that, Deb?
The 25th.
The 25th, so next week will be all the employees of the city. Some of them will be bringing their children to work. Members of the city council will be here, I believe, at 11 o'clock for some of them, and it's always a fun day. So whereas there has been a special day set aside for bringing boys and girls into the workplace, and whereas they can learn about future job opportunities that may be available to them in the world of work, and whereas this experience has allowed boys and girls the ability to explore occupations they would not ordinarily learn about, and whereas the children will understand that they can be and do anything that they put their hands, minds, and motivations to. Now therefore, I, John P. LaBrosse Jr., Mayor of the City of Hackensack, with other members of the City Council, do hereby proclaim Thursday, April 25th, 2024 as National Take Your Sons, Daughters to Work Day. So I'm looking forward to that next week. I'll leave that here. It's signed. Thank you.
And we have one more proclamation to be read tonight.
Uh-oh. I think I'm getting roasted.
This is a proclamation to the office of Mayor of the City of Hackensack. Whereas John P. LaBrosse Jr. is the 2024 recipient of Hackensack Chapters of Unico National Citizen of the Year Award.
Wow.
Whereas John resides in Hackensack and currently serves as its mayor. First elected to the City Council in 2009, he became mayor in 2013. He is a dedicated public servant and longtime resident whose leadership is a driving force behind the transformation of the city's financial and cultural landscape. Throughout his tenure, he has demonstrated a commitment to fiscal responsibility that benefits the hardworking citizens of Hackensack. And whereas Mayor LaBrosse, along with the City Council, preservation of Columbus Park during a tumultuous time in 2020. Their collaborative efforts, along with Hackensack Unico, played a huge part in the renovation of the Columbus statue and the Unico Plaza in 2021. And whereas beyond his professional endeavors, John takes immense pride in his family. He is married to Debbie Centero, a third-generation Italian-American, is the proud father of Justin and his wife Christy, and Christopher and his wife Tara. John is also proud grandfather of 2 granddaughters and 4 grandsons. John's dedication to family reflects his commitment to building a strong and prosperous community for generations to come. And whereas in addition to his public service, John works as a safety specialist at Hackensack University Medical Center. His multifaceted commitment to the community embodies his dedication to the well-being of Hackensack and its residents. Now therefore, I, Kathleen Canestrino, Deputy Mayor of the City of Hackensack, along with the members of the City Council, do hereby honor John LaBrosse Jr. for all of his years of community involvement and congratulate him on his Citizen of the Year Award.
Wow, thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you. Awesome, thank you.
Congrats, man.
Thank you. So,
Congrats, man.
we all know that none of this happens by one person by themselves, especially the financial part. I want to thank this council for everything we've been able to accomplish since 2013 when we took over. City's come a long way. We've had some struggles, but we've had some wonderful, great strides. We made it through a pandemic, which was brutal on everybody, but city came through, and I think we came out stronger and better after that. I want to thank you guys for all you've done for the city. The rabbi nailed it when he said sometimes it's a thankless job. But you know, sometimes when I'm feeling down about something in the city, I get in my car, I drive down Main Street, and I perk right up, because just that accomplishment alone and what it's meant to the city and people, not just of Hackensack, but of Bergen County and people who come and use the city every day. A better place for them to visit or work. We've come a long way, let's put it that way. So I'm very happy with that. So thank you, appreciate it very much.
Thank you, John.
Thank you. So, I wasn't expecting that. You caught me by surprise.
That was our plan.
Definitely surprised me.
Worked out
And I'm hard to catch. So I need a motion to approve the minutes of the March 19th, 2024 regular cow and executive session.
Offer.
Second.
All in favor?
I have to abstain.
Aye, and we have
Wait,
one
wait.
abstention.
Okay, so, okay.
Is that a word, abstention?
You
No,
made
it
it
is.
a word.
It is now.
It is.
So with that, we go to the city manager's report.
Thank you, Mayor. The city will be hosting our biannual Slam Dunk the Junk event on April 27th. Applications and information is available on social media. Our community garden registration is now open to Hackensack residents. Please call or visit our recreation department for assistance. Opening day of baseball is scheduled for this weekend, April 20th at 10 a.m. in Fashini Park. Recreation summer camp registration is now open. Please contact our recreation department for assistance. Please register early as many programs are filling up quickly. At this time, I will now turn the meeting over to our CFO, Mr. Jim Mangan, who will present the city's 2024 municipal budget.
Thank you, Benny. Okay, tonight we'll be presenting the 2024 municipal budget. Before I get into that, let me just, a little bit about the process. The 24 budget was introduced at the last meeting, okay? And according to state statute, we need to have a public hearing on the budget that is at least 28 days after the introduction. So the public hearing on the budget is scheduled for the next meeting on May 7th. After the public hearing, we'll then vote for adoption, assuming we've gotten state approval by then, okay? We haven't gotten state approval yet, okay? All right, tonight's presentation is similar to presentations in the past. It's going to start with the mission statement, as we usually do, then go into, I hit the wrong button. There we go. Then go into an overview of the budget. But then tonight I'm going to deviate and talk a little bit about health benefits. Health benefits are the key driver in the 2024 budget, and certain aspects of it that you need to understand. So we'll be talking about health benefits a little bit. Okay? So beginning with the mission statement. The mission statement hasn't changed. It's to improve the quality of life for Hackensack residents by improving or increasing services to residents without increasing taxes. Now, having said that, I'll be the first one to say that this budget does have a tax increase, okay? But that doesn't mean that we change the mission. The mission is still to deliver services the best we can, but always with an eye toward taxes. And every decision we make is always impactful of what it will do to taxes. But we will deliver services, and we will always strive to keep that tax increase down to a minimum. Okay, 2024 budget begins, as it always does, with the budget goal. Okay, our budget goal is always to craft a budget that's accurate and continues the policies that have achieved long-term tax stability. The budget must provide the funding and plan for community improvements and infrastructure, for redevelopment, and for tax relief. Those three are the key components of any budget that we do. Okay. As illustrated by this model, I really like this model. I use it every year because it shows that what we're trying to do is, as we bring development into the city, it provides the revenue, the non-tax revenue, for us to give tax relief to our residents and also to improve our infrastructure, pave streets, fix sewers, alleviate flooding, upgrade parks. And as we increase and improve our infrastructure, that brings more development in. And as more development comes in, we have the revenue to increase services, provide more tax relief, improve infrastructure, which brings more development in. And you see how it works. And that's why those three components are always key to any of the budgets that we do. Now, getting into the 2024 budget itself, it's $128,590,580. Okay? Now, that is a spending increase over last year of $6,484,000, or a 5.3% spending increase. Now, spending increase of $6.4 million needs to be explained. What is it that went up $6.4 million? In this particular budget, our health benefits and insurance are up $7.3 million. So with a total increase of $6.4 million, and health benefits and insurance are up $7.3 million, that means the entire rest of the budget was cut by $819,000. That's everything. That's salaries, that's other expenses, grants, capital, debt service, everything. All the rest of the budget, with the exception of insurance, was cut by $819,000. And the reason that we did that was in order to hold the line on the tax increase created by the increase in health benefits, it was necessary to make very deep, deep cuts in the entire rest of the budget, and to do that without reducing any services or eliminating any programs. Okay. Now, speaking of the other aspects of the budget, okay, first one is always salaries. Salaries are the biggest item in the budget, $46,344,000, almost exactly the same number as last year. 2023, our spending was $46,336,000. We're able to keep spending on salaries completely flat. And how do we do that? Mainly through attrition. Any open positions, through retirements, resignations, etc., were left open. Okay, some departments are running with smaller staff than they did last year. We're also aggressively monitoring overtime, particularly in police and fire. We were able to achieve substantial budget savings by the monitoring of overtime that happened last year, that we were able to reflect in savings in the 2024 budget. And even though we were able to hold the line on spending in salaries and wages through attrition, it's important to understand that there were no staff reductions at all in public safety. We have the same number of police officers, same number of firefighters that we had last year. Next up is the department other expenses, and this is the area where that drew the largest cuts. The 2024 budget for other expenses is a reduction of $600,000 over last year. In the graph, you can see the drop from 2023 to 2024, and if you look at how it compares to the drop from 2020 to 2021, that was the height of the pandemic. We cut the OE budget during the pandemic because we eliminated a lot of programs. Programs were frozen. Okay, this year we made even more cuts, and no programs are frozen. Now, no programs have been cut, but as I indicate in the final bullet, some of the programs are being financed differently. Okay, at the last meeting, I mentioned that recreation is offering more programs this year than they did last year, but we're financing them differently. We're going to finance them through the Recreation Trust Fund to take the pressure off the budget and actually give the Recreation Department, excuse me, a little bit more flexibility. Then we have insurance, and as I indicated earlier, $7.3 million increase. Now, the insurance budget is made up of health benefits, which is $7,315,000 increase. Workers' compensation insurance is up $221,000. And our general liability insurance is down $232,000. It's interesting. Workers' comp and general liability flipped from last year. Last year, workers' comp was up about $200,000, and general liability was down about $200,000. I'll have a lot more to say about health benefits a little bit later on. Okay. Next up, we have pensions and statutory expenses. Statutory expenses are those items that we have to pay for. Social Security, unemployment, things like that. The pension statutory budget, which is $13.9 million, almost exactly the same number as last year. It's about $8,000 more than last year. And that's some very good news for us because we desperately needed that this year. The last few years, we've had these double-digit increases in pensions completely outside our control. So the fact that this year the pension budget came in flat, that was a welcome relief. Okay. So we have a spending increase of $6.4 million. That translates into a tax levy increase of $2,784,000, okay, or a 3.1% increase to the tax levy. Okay. Now with a spending increase of $6.4 million, and only a tax increase, I say only, but a tax increase of only 2.7 million, where does the rest of that money come from? Okay, and if I could just spend a minute on that, is first up is pilot revenue. Pilot revenue in 2024 is up by $2,035,000. I'll have more to say about pilot revenue in a minute. Our local revenue, which is fees, permits, licenses, things like that, that's up 1.6 million. That's very encouraging. State aid for the second year in a row. From 2010 to 2022, there was no increase in state aid. Last year was the first increase. This not a large increase. It's only 245,000. Nothing like the schools saw, but still a second increase, an increase for the second year in a row. The budget also includes $1,058,000 in revenue from note sale premiums and capital grants that have been realized. In 2023, we did a real push to try and collect on old grants, old capital grants, DOT grants, CDBG grants. Okay, we were able to bring in $1 million in revenue from there. Now, grants for capital projects are always used to pay down the debt service. That's a term that's in every bond ordinance that we do. Okay, so this is how we're able to have a 2.7%, a $2.7 million tax levy increase when the spending increase is so high. Now, I mentioned before about pilots. Pilot revenue, just like all non-tax revenues, are used to offset increases in budget spending. Increases in budget spending always offset by increases in non-tax revenue, such as pilots. Pilots are up to a little more than $2 million over last year. They were up a little more than $2 million from the year before. And we're projecting that we're going to see these multi-million-dollar increases each year for at least the next 2 or 3 years before it stabilizes. It's important to understand, though, about with pilots, that the actual pilot revenue that comes in is always more than what we budget. And that's because of the constraints of the budget system itself, where we can't anticipate more than we took in last year, except in certain circumstances. As an example, last year, we anticipated 4.4 million in pilot revenue, but we actually took in 5.3 million. Okay, so what does that do to our tax rate? Okay, with this budget, we're projecting a tax rate of 1.375 as compared to last year, which was 1.3. Okay, that is a modest increase to the tax rate, and even though we have had 2 years of increases to the tax rate, slight increases to the tax rate, you'll see that the 2024 tax rate is still considerably less than the 2021 tax rate and immeasurably less than the 2015 tax rate. That brings us to health benefits. You know, health benefits are the driver in this budget that's causing the tax increase. Now, to understand health benefits, I just got to explain a little bit about self-insurance. We are self-insured. To understand self-insurance, let me explain the opposite of self-insurance. About 3/4 of the municipalities in New Jersey participate in the New Jersey State Health Benefits Plan. If you're in the State Health Benefits Plan, okay, that's a very large pool of all these municipalities, okay? They determine what the costs are. They determine what your premiums are, send you a bill in December. You know exactly how much you need to budget. You know exactly how much you're going to pay. It's a very easy system to administer, okay? In self-insurance, it's different. We don't pay premiums, we pay claims, and we pay claims in real time. In other words, employee goes to a doctor sends a bill to Horizon Blue Cross, who runs our program for us. Horizon Blue Cross pays that doctor, and then every 2 weeks they send us a bill for the claims that we have. Okay? The problem with that is that there is risk. Okay? We try and project a budget accurately, but there is risk in self-insurance. So for self-insurance, you know, the question is it a blessing or is it a curse? Now, in 2023, it'd be very easy to say, or based on 2023, it's a curse, okay? My own opinion, after doing this here for 10 years, I believe that self-insurance is actually a blessing if you take the steps to try and reduce the risk as much as you can. You can't reduce risk 100%, okay? But in the past, we have taken a number of steps to try and control our health benefit costs. Way back in 2016, we had a spike in prescription costs. And when that happened, we took a long, hard look at our entire health benefit program. And from there, we took a number of steps. First is we designed a new 70-30 plan. 70-30 meaning for out-of-network claims, the city pays 70%, the employee pays 30%, versus the traditional 80-20, city pays 80%, employee pays 20%. We designed that plan in 2016, and then we actively marketed it to our employees. Now, you'd think, why would an employee ever opt to voluntarily take that plan? Well, it's because since employees contribute to their own health benefits now, it's a cheaper plan. And if you stay in network, there's no change to the coverage at all. So if you stay in network, you save money by going to this plan. And many, many employees did that voluntarily. Once a number of employees voluntarily moved to that plan, then we started negotiating with the unions to offer that plan to everybody, okay? Health benefits are a benefit that needs to be negotiated with the unions, and we did that, and quite a few of our unions opted into that, okay? Right now, most of our unions do have the 70-30 plan as the plan in their labor contract. 2018, we created the Health Benefits Trust Fund as a hedge against one of those bad years. Thankfully, we had the trust. We had to draw on it in 2023. We had to draw on it in 2022. Likewise, a few years ago, we segregated the library from the city, from the rest of the city. Library pays for their own health benefits. They asked for more accurate billing, which was understandable. We did that. Now we bill the library exactly for what their employees cost. Back in 2018, as I said, we had a problem with prescriptions. We switched providers. We moved from Express Scripts to CVS Caremark. We've been with CVS Caremark since then. We're very happy with them. The following year, in 2019, we entered into a contract with a company called Remedy Analytics. And what they do is they screen all of our pharmacy claims to make sure that we're only paying what we need to pay. Also, and Remedy Analytics does that free of charge. But as we know, there's nothing free. What they also do is they track our prescription usage. And there are rebates that are available from pharmaceutical companies based on volume. Remedy Analytics tracks that. They submit our rebates, and in return, they get a portion of those rebates. Last year, we took in about $2 million in pharmaceutical rebates. So this is what we've done to try and control costs in the past. Now, this graph shows what we've paid in medical claims in the 10-year period from 2014 through 2023. First thing you see is the large jump in 2023. And what caused that? There's a lot of reasons for it, okay, and despite our best efforts to try and prevent it. But the three biggest reasons for it are, first, that we're post-pandemic, okay? During the pandemic in 2020, 2021, and the first part of 2022, people were staying home more. They weren't getting hurt, they weren't getting accidents, and they were putting off either elective surgery or non-urgent surgery. A lot of people just didn't want to go to hospitals during the pandemic, okay? Once the pandemic pretty much subsided about halfway through 2022, and then there's a jump in elective surgeries, okay? That started in 2022, continued in 2023. That, together with inflation, for most of 2023, we did have inflation anywhere between 5 and 7%. It tapered off at the end of the year. but for most of the year it was there. And since the pandemic, there's been a large increase in all medical costs. Supplies are up. There's a shortage of nurses, a shortage of doctors. All those shortages have just driven prices up because of supply and demand. But it's important to note that in the period between 2014 and 2022, our medical claims rose only 1.4% per year. That's excellent. If we were in a state health benefits plan, double-digit increases are pretty much the norm. We did very, very well during that period, 2014 to 2022. In fact, in 2021, the amount we spent was actually $200,000 less than the amount we spent in 2014. Self-insurance really helped the city of Hackensack, despite the bad year that we had in 2023. But we had a bad year in 2023, and you want to know, hey, there's a problem, what are you doing about it, okay? So here's our plan to combat it in 2024. First thing we're doing is we're investigating new providers. We're allowed to do that under the labor contracts. As long as the coverage is the same or even better than before, we can switch providers. This is what we did with prescriptions in 2018. We're also considering going into a Medicare Advantage plan for our Medicare retirees. Our retirees, once you hit 65, are required to sign up for Medicare. Medicare becomes their primary, city becomes the secondary. The reason we're considering it is that Medicare retirees, their claims have actually gone down the last couple of years. So part of me says, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So jury's still out on that. Similarly, we've created an entirely new plan for our pre-Medicare retirees. This is the group that's had the largest increase in claims. These are people that are retired that haven't hit 65 yet. This has pretty much been done. We hope to roll this out, if not May 1st, June 1st at the absolute latest. And finally, we're entering into a contract with a private company that will screen all of our out-of-network claims to make sure that they're in compliance with our plans, that we're not paying more than we have to. And we think that's going to be a real key to holding the line on spending for medical claims in 2024. Okay, so in summary, the skyrocketing increase in health benefit claims in 2023 presented us with this great challenge to the 2024 budget and our ability to hold the line on taxes. But we really believe that the medical claims plan of action that we put in place for 2024 is going to reap benefits for us for years to come, just like the prescription claims plan we did in 2018. Medical claims were up 30% for us from 2023. Prescription claims were only up 2%. Okay? So we're hoping to replicate that success next year. Throughout this presentation, I said a few times that there were certain things that were encouraging, and to me, it's encouraging that with hard work, creativity, and sacrifice, we were able to keep this tax increase to a minimum without curtailing any services or eliminating any programs at all. This budget was extremely challenging. But having said that, I understand that the tax increase is larger than you're used to. But I think that given what we faced, Vinny will tell you, we went through 4 drafts of this budget. The first draft had a 12% increase, and we knew that wasn't going to fly. We got it down to where we thought we should be, but the deputy mayor said that wasn't going to fly. So here we are. I want to thank all the department heads for the help they've given us. Now the hard part starts, and that's staying within that budget. Okay. I want to thank the Finance Committee, Deputy Mayor Canestrino, Councilman Battaglia, for always providing direction. We always get good financial direction. Okay? And just one last note is just a reminder, public hearing is next meeting on May 7th at 8 o'clock. Following that, assuming we get state approval, we'll be voting to adopt. Okay? Right now, I'd be happy to entertain any questions anybody has.
Just want to say thank you, Jim. I know it was a lot of work and a lot of time. You know, I just think in general, the whole country is you know, struggling with inflation and cost of living. So, you know, I know it's difficult to try to craft this budget. So we appreciate your
Thank
time.
you.
I'll say the same. I've been through many iterations with you, as you know, Jen. And, you know, and it was a tough one.
Yes.
I mean, there was a time where we really were faced with the fact we're going to have to actually have layoffs to get the state to approve it. And I think, you know, everybody worked together, the department heads, the employees, the finance department especially, to really cut back on every single thing we could to avoid that. And to me, this is a real success that we were able to do that. And a lot of that's attributed to you, Jim, and your department, and everybody who worked so hard. And the employees and the department heads too.
That's
Who
right.
said, we're gonna really, we know we've never been hit like this before with health benefits. You're seeing it across the country. And I think you hit the nail right on the head. You know, we've had a number of years where elective surgery or non-emergent surgery wasn't being done. And even right after post-COVID, you know, hospitals weren't readily opening up for the non-emergent surgeries, and people were still hesitant to go to the hospital and have things that weren't totally an emergent situation. So we're seeing that as we see other towns are seeing it, and we're actually seeing it across the country. So, you know, let's hope, folks, and pray that this was an anomalous year and we can understand why this happened to us. But kudos again to you and the finance department for coming up with a plan to abate that risk even further. And we, as a council, and I myself personally appreciate everything that we've done to make this happen. And we're gonna get through it. You know, we've had a number of very good years, and, you know, we still look back to those pre-2013 years where this city saw 12% increases and 8% increases, and, you know, to keep it at 3, it took a lot, and I hope the public who's watching this and folks of you that are sitting here understand how difficult of a task this really was, and,
Thank you. Appreciate that.
I'd like to thank you and your team for a job well done.
Thank you, Jerry. Thank you.
So, yes, and what we didn't even speak about was inflation as well. Inflation rate right now, as of today, is 3.5?
3.5.
And we're coming in with a 3.1% tax increase, so we're kind of mirroring where inflation is overall, even though we had to pull all kinds of things out of rabbits out of the hat to get it done, we got it done.
I hadn't considered that. That's right.
Yeah, so it's important for the public to realize that. I mean, the public's, oh, they're raising it. Well, guess what? We had to pay extra for everything, just like you do at home when you go grocery shopping and you stop for gas. So does the city. We use the same gas in our cars and trucks. We use, you know, everything goes up accordingly for all of us. It was, when I heard about the health insurance increase, I was like shocked. I was like in shock.
You and me
I want
both.
to thank, I want to thank the Finance Committee, Deputy Mayor, and Councilman Battaglia for their hard work with you and your department. But I'm proud of, through the pandemic, I guess the tax levy went down 3 years in a row, correct?
Yes, it
We
was.
actually kept taxes pretty flat the 3 years through the pandemic. This year, obviously, we see why there's an increase, you know, and it was inevitable, taxes are gonna go up sooner or later, but we were hoping it was later, and, you know.
We always hope it's later.
Yeah, but it's here, so we'll get through it just like everything else, but I'm still proud of the work you guys have done and what this council has done, so thank you, Jim.
Thank you. And like I indicated, I really think that overall, we're going to be better off in our health benefit delivery after this.
Yeah.
I really believe that.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you, everybody.
Appreciate it, thank you.
thanks, Jim.
Okay. You're up.
That's all I have.
Okay. With that, I guess we need a motion to, oh no, we have business to take care of. A few
You thought we were done?
resolutions to do, sorry. Okay, you ready, Deb?
I'm ready.
Resolution 140-24.
Same resolution for final adoption of ordinance number 14-2025, An ordinance amending 321 Main Street redevelopment plan consisting of block 407.1, lots 2, 5, 6.01, 6.02, 734, 36.01, 37, 39, 40, to add block 407.01, lot 38. This ordinance has been published according to law and now calls for a public hearing.
Okay, need a motion to open to the public?
Offer.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
None opposed. Anybody from the public who'd like to speak to this ordinance? And this ordinance only, please come forward. Seeing no members from the public, motion to close to the public.
Offer.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None opposed. Motion to adopt the ordinance?
Offer.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Hackensack, County of Bergen, and State of New Jersey, that ordinance number 14-2024 has passed its second and final reading and is hereby adopted.
Thank you. Sorry, Resolution 141-24.
Okay, this one,
Read, Steve's going to read something into this.
Yes, well, do you have, I'm gonna do the amendment first, and we can deal with it, Josh, then.
okay.
Okay.
So, this ordinance that we have, sorry, this one thing isn't working. This ordinance that we have on the agenda for tonight establishes procedures for tree removal and replacements. This ordinance is required by the State Department of Environmental Protection as part of its stormwater permitting requirements. So recently, we adopted an ordinance relating to salt storage on private properties. That was also part of this. The DEP has asked that we adopt an ordinance by May 2nd, and this is the last meeting before then for us to be able to do that. This is in a bit of a compressed time frame. So the ordinance that we have presented is based upon the DEP's recommended model ordinance. It doesn't mean that we can't look at it and potentially improve it as time goes on, but for the moment, it's just important that we have this ordinance adopted. Nonetheless, we did speak with the members of the Shade Tree Advisory Commission regarding this ordinance, as they had some concerns over it. Based upon their guidance, we have a couple of amendments that we're going to ask you to approve prior to opening it up for public hearing and final adoption. I do consider these minor amendments so that it's not required to go back to first reading and re-advertise. The two changes are that the fee when you have to replace a tree, right? There are standards in the ordinance as to when, if a tree is of a certain size, it needs to be replaced. And as an alternative, if it's not feasible to replace the tree, there can be a fee that is paid in lieu of replacing the tree. We've adjusted that fee from $300 to $350 to be consistent with some of the other things that we're doing relating to trees in the city. And then the second amendment is originally we had put a list of authorized replacement trees that was based upon the list of street trees that we allow in the city. The Shade Tree Advisory Commission said, look, we think that should be expanded because diversity of trees is important. And their recommendation was that there's a nonprofit called the Native Plant Society of New Jersey that has a list of trees that they recommend to be replaced as they're native to New Jersey. And so we have taken out our list, and we are going to use the list recognized by the Native Plant Society of New Jersey, which is much broader. So it gives people more options if a tree does come down on their property, and if under this ordinance it has to be replaced, that they can select from, instead of 10 trees, it's 50 trees or some number close to that of different tree species that are native to New Jersey and would be appropriate if you want to have diversity of tree species on your property. So, pretty common sense change. We didn't really have that technical information as to what tree species would be appropriate, but with the advisory committee's guidance, they suggested this would be a good place to go, and I think that made sense to everybody. So before you is the ordinance with the revisions, those two revisions. The remainder of the ordinance remains the same. So I would ask that you make a motion to accept the amendments, and if you do that, then at that point, we can open up the amended ordinance for the public hearing that's required to adopt an ordinance.
Okay, so first you need a motion.
Yes,
To
you
amend the
need a motion
ordinance?
to accept the amendments as proposed.
Okay, need a motion to accept the amendments as proposed.
Offer.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, none opposed.
And now you can proceed to the second reading on the
Okay.
ordinance and the public hearing.
Okay, so this is a final adoption of ordinance number 17-2024, an ordinance amending chapter 162 of the Code of the City of Hackensack Trees to establish procedures for tree removal and replacement in order to comply with state requirements. This ordinance has been published according to law and now calls for a public hearing.
Need a motion to open to the public.
Offer.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, none opposed. Anyone from the public who'd like to speak to this ordinance and this ordinance only, please come forward. Seeing no members from the,
I have something.
Yes,
Oh.
Josh
Sorry.
Cohen.
Oh, Josh Cohen's
From the
left.
Shade Tree Advisory Committee just
Okay.
asked that a statement from them be put into the record.
Sure.
And so, given their status as a advisory committee to the city, we are going to do that.
All right, this is what Mr. Cohen sent. My name is Joshua Cohen, Hackensack resident and Chair of Hackensack Shade Tree Advisory Committee. It is good that the state of New Jersey is requiring municipalities to pass a tree replacement ordinance. I have presented to this council the need for a similar ordinance. Trees assist with stormwater runoff, lower the ambient temperature, and increase property values. When trees are removed, it impacts the entire community. Unfortunately, I don't believe the ordinance you pass tonight will have much impact because it allows for 3 trees to be removed per acre over a 5-year rolling period. This language was taken verbatim, excuse me, from the model ordinance released by DEP. Unfortunately, DEP did not provide any guidance on how to craft an ordinance to suit individual community needs. Fortunately, Hackensack has a tree board who can help you do just that. A 3-tree allowance per acre makes sense for forested areas such as Ramsey or rural Hackettstown. Hackensack is an urban environment with an already comprised tree canopy, few properties over 1 acre in size, and 3 trees in a significant and 3 trees is a significant loss to any location. I am appreciative that we were able to modify the tree species replacement list for the ordinance. Any native tree species is a suitable replacement. Native trees are beneficial because they support pollinators, insects, wildlife, and birds. If you remove the 3-tree allowance, I believe you have a good ordinance that will achieve its stated purpose. I hope to see that amendment in the near future.
okay, thank you.
Okay, now, unless there's anybody else, now you need the motion to close.
Motion to close to the public.
Offer.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, none opposed. Motion to adopt the ordinance.
Offer.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, none opposed. Passes.
Be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Hackensack, County of Bergen, and State of New Jersey that ordinance number 17-2024 has passed its second and final reading and is hereby adopted.
Thank you. Resolution 142-24.
This is a resolution for the adoption of ordinance number 18-2024, an ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and to establish the cap bank as per NJSA 40A:4-45.14. This ordinance has been published according to law and now calls for a public hearing.
Need a motion, please?
Offer.
Second.
Roll call?
Councilmember Von Rudenberg.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Canestrino.
Aye.
Councilmember Pataglia is absent. Councilmember Carroll.
Aye.
Mayor LaBrus.
Aye.
Anybody?
I'm
Nobody?
sorry. I lost my place here.
That's all right.
Where were we?
Okay, if nobody wanted to speak,
Nobody, I'm sorry.
okay, then you just
Nobody's
need to
speaking from the
close.
public. Motion to close to the public.
Offer.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, none opposed. Motion to adopt?
Offer.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, none opposed.
Be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Hackensack, County of Bergen, and State of New Jersey, that ordinance number 18-2024 has passed its second and final reading and is hereby adopted.
Thank you. Resolution 143-24.
This is a resolution for the introduction of ordinance number 16-2024, an ordinance to amend Chapter 170 of the Code of the City of Hackensack Parking to update monthly pricing for the use of certain off-street municipal parking lots.
Need a motion, please?
Offer.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, none opposed.
Be it resolved that the above ordinance being ordinance number 16-2024 as introduced is now passed on first reading, and that said ordinance shall be considered for final passage at a meeting to be held on May 7th, 2024, at 8:00 p.m. or as soon thereafter as the matter can be reached at the regular meeting place of the City Council, and at such time and place all persons interested be given an opportunity to be heard concerning said ordinance, and that the city clerk be and she is hereby authorized and directed to publish said ordinance according to law with a notice of its introduction and passage on first reading, and of the time and place when and where said ordinance will be further considered for final passage.
Thank you. Resolution 144-24.
This is a resolution authorizing tax refunds for state board judgments.
Need a motion, please.
Offer.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. None opposed. Resolution 145-24.
This is a resolution for authorization of the awarding of a state contract for Hackensack Municipal Court asbestos abatement project.
Need a motion, please.
Offer.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None opposed. Resolution 146-24.
It's a resolution authorizing award of bid contract for the Prospect Avenue Pedestrian Safety Improvement Project.
Need a motion?
Offer.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None opposed. Resolution 147-24.
It's a resolution authorizing the 2024 temporary budget appropriations.
Need a motion?
Offer.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
None opposed. Resolution 148-24.
This is a resolution providing for the combination of certain bond ordinances and determining the form and other details of the offering of not to exceed $21,200,000 aggregate principal amount of general obligation bonds, Series 2024, consisting of not to exceed $16,120,000 general improvement bonds, Series 2024, and not to exceed $5,080,000 parking utility bonds, Series 2024, of the City of Hackensack and the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, otherwise known as the city, and providing for their sale and determining certain other matters with respect thereto.
Need a motion, please?
Offer.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None opposed. Resolution 149-24.
This is a resolution to award contract to Suburban Engineering for services required for the Clay Street Combined Sewer Overflow, Carver Park Underground Storage Project Cultural Resources Survey.
Need a motion, please?
Offer.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None opposed. Resolution 150-24.
This is a resolution authorizing award of contract to Suburban Engineering for sub-consultant services required for the Clay Street Combined Sewer Overflow, Carver Park Underground Storage Project Cultural Resources Survey.
Need a motion, please?
Offer.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None opposed. Resolution 151-24.
It's a resolution authorizing payment of bills.
Motion to pay the bills.
Offer.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None opposed. Any conflicts on this consent agenda? We've got a couple raffle licenses here.
Nothing?
5, nothing.
I'm good.
Continue.
Okay, that the following items are considered to be routine in nature and will be enacted in one motion. Any items requiring expenditure are supported by a certification of availability of funds. Any item requiring discussion will be removed from the consent agenda, and consent agenda items will be reflected in full in the minutes, including any exceptions and/or additions. Consists of resolutions 152-24, which is a resolution authorizing Anderson Street Historic District Neighborhood Preservation Program Year 3 Implementation Plan. Resolution 153-24 is a resolution to adopt shared service agreement with the Township of Teaneck to provide access to Hackensack's DPW facilities for automotive repairs. Resolution 154-24 is a resolution to adopt shared service agreement with the County of Bergen for tree removal services. Resolution 155-24 is a resolution authorizing building department refunds. And Resolution 156-24 is a resolution authorizing raffle licenses.
Need a motion to adopt the consent agenda as it was just read.
Offer.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None opposed. We're good? Okay, need a motion to open to the public.
Offer.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None opposed. Anyone from the public who'd like to speak, please come forward, give your name to the clerk. You will have 3 minutes.
Mayor LaBrosse, how are you?
I'm good, Mr. Serbo, how are you?
Spring Valley Avenue. I just want to get on the list, if there's a list, to put up a digital sign. I thought we were getting that on Spring Valley Avenue. I guess it takes time.
It does.
But
Yeah,
it's,
takes a little time.
it's very much needed, okay? It's just, sometimes, what's that?
We have two going.
Okay, sometimes during morning rush hour, buses are speeding by. It's like, wow, what the hell was that? It's almost like you don't know what the hell it was.
Right.
So it's tragic. It is. It's something that needs to be attended to. Okay, earlier too, I think Gary said something about Stuyve Park. I was reading something and I didn't hear exactly what he said. I thought that was a perfect spot for 2 tennis courts. Right in the back, and he's saying now to rip up the hard surface there, but on top of that, you could level a beautiful tennis court there at Stuyve Park. You know, the Dominio and Sons used to do that. I don't know who does it now, but to lay a tennis court there would just be precious. Okay, so that's that. What else? A couple other things. I'm thinking of. Okay, some public trash bins are being loaded up from people just driving by. You can put, I didn't know you could put trash in public trash containers. And the one at the bottom of Spring Valley, right near Main Street, somebody's constantly driving past there and putting garbage in there. They do it to my garbage trash cans once they're emptied. And before I bring them back in the yard, somebody puts trash in my big bags too, the stuff. So I don't know how that could be remedied. I really don't. So,
Ring doorbell.
what's that?
Purchase a Ring doorbell.
That doesn't help. Somebody did that to my garbage can this morning.
Really?
And I went back and looked at the Ring doorbell and it didn't pick up anybody. The
You gotta put
garbage
the-
bin came down.
Put the
I
garbage
went to
can
bring the
closer to
garbage
your
can
front
in,
door.
And there
No,
was
it's
still
okay.
a
It's-
bag in it, because it had been upside down, and then somebody turned it right side up, put a bag in it, and
Mine doesn't really matter, but the public one does, because they load it and pile it up on the public trash can. All right, one other thing, I guess, and I'll get out of here, is the Mangan just made a wonderful presentation, but on the one part of the presentation when he mentions pilot payments, he said, oh, in 2 years or so, they level out or they flatten out, or Mr. Mangan. So maybe he could explain that somehow, or somebody might know. Maybe I'm misunderstanding it, okay? But he said they level out in a few years, meaning they're going to dry up. They're not going to be as big, or they're not going to increase as much, or something like that. So please explain that. And 2 other comments before I leave are, you know, when we wait for you to come out of the talk time in your room, we enjoy the quiet. So the music that was on, I don't know, I just thought it was like,
I was shocked when I came out and there was music on.
I thought it was annoying. And every once in a while, it's possible that your phone makes one little sound. It takes a nanosecond. I didn't even hear it. But we had someone in the room that was very alarmed by that. And just please turn down the alarm, Mr. Mayor. Please, thank you very much.
Rich, let me just answer, can I just answer, Fran?
Sure.
Rich, your question about the pilots.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
All right, what Jim is talking about is because we have more new apartments opening up right now, so the increases each year are larger. They've been a couple $1 million, but they will sustain themselves throughout.
Okay.
So that money will not be less than what you're seeing, and it, in fact, will grow up, as I've explained to you before, because we're partners with the development. So as their rents go up, our percentage of those rents stays the same, so our money goes up. But right now, we're seeing substantial increases because maybe a new building is opening, or maybe a new building is being added to the list. And that's going to continue until, once we get to that point where the development levels off, those larger increases will stop. But we still are anticipating over 6 million, like 6.5 million this year, Jim? Yeah, so.
All right, it just sounded like,
It-
okay,
I
once
understand
we,
your
2 more
confusion.
years,
Yes.
kind of levels off,
Did I
it seems
explain
like.
it well? You're okay?
Okay, I'm good.
Good.
Thank you. Next person from the public, please.
Donna DiCarlo, Summit Ave. So I wasn't going to come up, but when he talked about the speeding, I did want to come up and speak. I know we've been in contact with the city about the speeding on Summit Avenue, but it is very bad. People are running stop signs on some of the side streets coming up. And so just if, I know we have a speeding sign, but it's not working. But it's not really deterring people from doing it anyway. And they're racing down the street, they're going around. It's really very dangerous. I have little kids, and anything you could do to slow it down. We've asked about speed bumps. I know speed bumps can't, but you could do a hump. Just if people could just sit there even for an hour, you'll see, you'll be astonished at how fast people are going.
You're talking between Spring Valley and like Stibe?
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
like fast, yep.
Summit, yeah.
So
And that's
nor-
that's
north
city,
of
not
Spring
county,
Valley, you're
that's
looking
us.
Yeah, but I mean, I think they just continue down too, but
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
There's no
But they
elec-
also come
are
up, I
there
think
any
they come up-
electronic signs there?
there
I
is
think
one,
there's
but it's not working.
It's not
one,
working?
but not working?
Mm-mm.
Because it's solar, so we have to check.
That's what it is.
On Summit?
Yeah, there's
Mhm.
one on the, I think it's going eastbound,
Yeah.
right? Towards Stibe.
Towards Stibe, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, by Catawba.
All right.
So yeah, anything you could do,
Check on that.
please. The other thing is, he mentioned Stibe. I know last year when they opened up, they said one of the playground equipment needed to be replaced. I just want to know where we were with that, and if we have a say in it, because I'm just worried that with inflation, they may try to replace it with something smaller. So I think I'd mentioned to Councilwoman von Rudenberg
I
last
wasn't
year
even
that
aware
if
what happened with the playground
happens
equipment.
So the playground wasn't, I guess they had to, with the grading it was, the grading, they were going to replace the one.
Mhm.
So the original structures are there for both.
yeah, the originals are there. One of them was rotted, but just to open it up,
Right.
open the park
So
up,
it
they
should be like in
opened it
kind
up.
or better?
Yeah.
Better or equal to?
Yeah.
Equal or better?
And
Yeah.
I
Correct?
think we discussed, what is it, like a physically enabled friendly for all kids, like, you know,
Okay.
ADA compliant, possibly.
Yeah,
for-
ADA compliant.
Yeah.
All right,
I think we're looking into that
okay,
for that one.
But they still have the mulch there, I think, because they don't want to put the rubber
Not gonna put the
until,
rubber down
Right.
until- yeah.
Until they
Okay.
replace the
and I hope
street.
the contractor is paying for it, because they delayed so long. I know they were looking into liquidated damages last
I
year,
think
hopefully.
they kind
They
of
are
got beat
following
up a
through
little
with
bit,
that,
right?
and,
At the end, they did get beat up a little bit, just so you know,
okay.
at the end.
Good. And I came also for this budget, very interesting. I absorbed a lot. Congratulations on your award, actually.
Thank
you
you.
for the budget. And I think I have to process a lot of it. It's a lot, but
Yeah.
7 million is a lot to
Mhm.
absorb, so
Yep.
maybe I'll see you
And
May
and all the
7th.
health benefits.
May 8th.
But just-
That's a lot.
Just so you know, because I had asked Jim to print this out for me today, but I said, what are neighboring towns doing as far as percentage? So our biggest neighboring towns are Teaneck, River Edge, Bergenfield, all right? So Teaneck had an increase, we were 3.1%, they were 10%. River Edge, 4.4, Bergenfield, 4.5, you know, and it goes gradually down from there, the 15 or so he did, but I can't even imagine Teaneck, 10% increase, that's a big hit.
How'd they get that approved, Jim?
I want to look at that, because I'm.
Something don't sound right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Thank you.
we try to monitor and see what other towns are doing, because especially when you're self-insured, it's a certain, it's roll of the
Yeah.
dice to some extent. And
And you did say, I'm sorry, somebody spoke to when, I'll be quick. You have money set aside
Mhm.
for when, I guess, you go over. Is there like still a lot left in that?
Well,
they
you have,
can-
you have no.
Jim
you
can
have-
answer that.
You
He's
have
shaking his head
appropriation
no.
caps, yeah.
That trust got as high as 1.2 million,
Okay.
but because of the last 2 years.
They ate it up.
Yeah, it's down to about 300,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But the government only allows you to raise taxes so much without laying people off. I mean, there's appropriation caps and stuff you have to stay within, and, you know, you just can't, like, say, we're gonna borrow money to pay off the budget, it doesn't work. But, anyone else from the public? Motion to close to the public.
Offer. Oh, you want to speak? Wait, no, someone
I'm
wants to
sorry.
speak.
Doran Rosario, also from Summit Ave. I live across the street from Donna.
Okay.
The same issue with the speeding. We've been in
Mhm.
touch with the city a lot last year and even the year before. Jan at the city. I don't know if she's still there. We were in touch with her and she helped out a bit.
Uh-huh.
But we haven't seen anything happen to make it better in the past, I want to say 9 months at least.
Has the trailer, we have a trailer that we put out, has it ever been on Summit?
It was for a short period.
Did it help?
So to be honest, they use that as their goal. Let's see how fast we can go.
Oh, no.
Oh, nice. So let's
Right?
get some
We would actually see
enforcement
them
out there.
speed more when they had that up there.
Yeah.
And I had spoken with the gentleman, I'm sorry, I can't remember his name, the one who installed the speed for us. And yeah, we know the cars.
Can you ever
They're
get, I
always-
mean, if you, and you would, they would never know it came from you, but if you ever get a license plate, call the city manager's office and they'll be
And
glad
we
to,
could
yeah.
let them know. And the gentleman installing it said that even the stop signs, so we are both right on the corner of Catalpa and Summit.
Mhm.
They don't observe the stop
They
signs at
just
all.
run
It's a
through the stop
rolling
signs
stop.
to go into Summit.
I had a near miss today, and they go like, "Oh, like sorry, like, you know,
Yeah.
that's not going to help if we crash." And we've had a few crashes.
I'm gonna take a risk in asking this question. Are these younger people?
Not always.
No?
No, just people
Okay.
in a hurry, people texting and driving, literally with the phone in
Yeah.
the hand.
So,
And
we're
I'm
gonna
sorry
ask
to
the
interrupt.
city manager to,
Yeah.
get some enforcement
So the
out
city
there.
manager's
See if we
office.
catch a couple of these people, because
There
usually, once they
were-
get ticketed, they slow down, but.
Yeah, so there was a couple of recommendations. I've been researching, looking at what other towns do or whatever. But one of them is the blinking stop. I don't know if that will help, but that's one thing they do have on Davis. or
That'll
Willow.
help with stopping, definitely.
Just to, at least the conscientious ones who are distracted, they might
Yeah.
stop. That's what I'm
Mhm.
thinking. And then the other suggestion is, I know speed bumps, there's some kind of issue with having that liability, that's what I heard. But
It's-
speed humps, that's a difference.
Yeah, there's a
Seen
there's a
that used
difference.
lot.
Yeah, there's also what we call, it's like rumble strips, where they actually carve a little bit of the macadam, and it makes a noise on your tires, it causes you to slow down.
Right, anything that would bring attention to the driver, you're approaching a stop sign and not just a free.
Right. So you're saying you'd like to see something before the stop sign?
Before the stop
Not just on Summit itself? Yeah.
Both ways would be the best
So,
ideal situation.
I doubt you'll see speed bumps, because they're a nightmare with snowplows, but,
But something that would, you know, bring attention.
we'll have to look into what we can do over there. All right?
Alright.
But that's a, yeah, that's
Something
a,
about that intersection, either those people speeding up Catalpa, if they're in a rush, but
yeah,
every day we actually text each other, honks, loud
yeah.
near misses, you know, you can hear them.
My guess is
honk.
they're using your side streets like Catalpa, Willow, Cedar, all those streets as a diversion, instead of using Spring Valley from Maine. They're probably coming up that way and cutting through that.
To skip a light.
Right.
Right, to skip
Missing
a light.
lights and, yeah.
Are you guys on Summit or on Catalpa?
We are right on Summit,
Okay.
the two of us, on either side of Catalpa, we're right on Summit.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Going once, going twice, seeing none, motion to close.
Offer.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, none opposed.
Good evening.
Councilwoman Von Rudenberg, you're up.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for coming out. I was just making some notes because I notice a lot of speeding where I am on Clinton as well. The first question is, Vinnie, legally, are we allowed to have unmarked cars, like as a enforcement?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Like because I feel like a lot of times if there's a marked car, people naturally slow down, they could see them ahead of time, so I think
Absolutely.
trying to do an unmarked car, I would love to see some type of speed humps or rumble strips. I know the speed humps are tougher, but, you know, I think that's the biggest diversion for cars, especially a lot of times you see the younger kids speeding, they have a lot of money in their cars to make them loud and faster, and the last thing they want is to hit a speed hump and damage their car, so if that's possible, but I know with the plows, that can be difficult. The last thing, because I do notice this a lot, parking near corners, I'm wondering if that's part of the problem. I do notice that a lot of people kind of roll through stop signs when they can't see the stop sign, or they're trying, you know, like they're halfway into the intersection already, so they kind of just go. But I do notice, a lot of cars by corners, parked by corners where you can't really see, you know, a line of sight. So I don't know if we have looked at the painting, like the curbs, a lot of the
Should be a
streets.
50 foot.
They'll start doing that again now.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, or even like kind of monitoring, like I know on Summit where we were for a while, the curb the yellow wasn't long enough, and you kind of had to inch out pretty much into the middle of Summit to make a left to see if cars were coming, so, some of those things. And then, in regards to the pedestrian safety grants we get, we've been doing a great job with getting a lot of that. Would this type of, would this
Not really.
be covered by the grant, any of this? No, it's different.
They deal basically with crosswalks,
Okay.
speed, I forget what they call speed, lowering speeds, there's a term for it.
Okay.
Calming, speed calming.
Okay.
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
But not for stop
Stop
signs
signs.
or intersections like that.
Okay. Yeah, I think maybe the unmarked cars if possible, because I think if you don't see them, you're gonna keep going and we'll get them eventually. Just want to thank Rabbi Mindy, on all his, dedication and involvement in the city. He always, if you ever had a chance to hear him talk, he always, offers a sense of comfort and support for the community, and it's appreciated. He just has a way of speaking and calming, everybody, which is nice. Thank you again to Jim, the finance committee, and all the department heads for all the hard work on this year's budget. Again, it was a tough one, but we appreciate everyone's hard work. As the city manager mentioned, this Saturday is opening day for baseball and softball at Hackensack at Fashini Park. So if you're around, please come out and support all of the boys and girls who are part of the program. One thing I wanted to mention was we're really having a hard time with volunteers. We have teams that have 20 kids on the roster because we weren't able to get enough coaches to have 2 teams. So again, I know we've mentioned this a lot. I know notices have been sent to the
Been there,
school
done that.
about volunteering. The rec department has been very proactive of, sending notices out, I'm volunteering. It's tough, I know it's, everyone has a lot of things going on and work and commitments, but we really are in need of volunteers, especially for baseball and softball. And like I mentioned in previous meetings, you don't have to necessarily know the sport, just to be there, to be a body, to make sure that, the kids are safe. But we have quite a few teams with over 20 kids on it because there wasn't enough coaches to separate into 2 teams. So I was fortunate enough, my 8U team only has about 14 girls. And I'm lucky enough to have 3 other coaches. We really lucked out at our age level, but I know the majors, I think 12U softball, they have these really big rosters, and a lot of coaches only have 1 coach on the team. So, again, anyone listening that can volunteer next year or help out, please, let us know. I know the rec will get you cleared and involved as soon as possible. And finally, congratulations to the mayor on receiving Unico's award. You really do. I know it's, as Rabbi Mindy mentioned, it's a thankless job up here, but you really take the heat for a lot of it, being the mayor, and, we
My pleasure.
It's tough. It's tough to be, the head person up here, and we appreciate everything that you do and all the support, and you've done a lot for the city.
Thank
and
you,
we
Steph. Appreciate it.
No problem. Have a good night, everybody.
Thanks, Steph. I agree, Vinnie, the speeding, we always hear about what's going on in Spring Valley, and now it looks like it's going further north as well. We're seeing more. We've got to come up with a plan, maybe, work together with the PD about, getting some folks up there, because once you start ticketing, and the pain becomes there, then they know, well, we got to move someplace else, and we got to find them then, or you've got to stop. You've got to just slow down. And, the same thing with parking close to the corners. We start ticketing these things, and I know, even looking at tree growth too and bushes, I know we had that problem, remember, on our corners,
Still do.
Still there. That makes sure people are trimming them enough so things aren't hidden and line of sight is clear, because all those things, definitely are root causes for some accidents that have potential to happen. And this is a very residential area, so there's absolutely no reason for that type of speeding and the volume of traffic that you folks are seeing. So hopefully we come up with a plan, and next time we have a better message for you. So thank you for coming and bringing, that's what the purpose of these meetings really are. I always speak about things that I'm most involved with and interested, so there wasn't really a lot on here tonight. There was one redevelopment ordinance that was adopted. Basically, all this was really doing is we're looking at the redevelopment that's taking place on the corner of Main and God, now you made me forget it. Main by Giant Market. Main and Berry.
Berry.
Main, the corner of Main and Berry,
Oh,
and,
yeah.
yeah, corner
Route
of Main and
21?
Berry, which kind of moved pretty much down the street going south on Main Street, and there was one holdout of a law office that they were kind of building around it, so at this point, they said, okay, guys, we'll make a deal, and they made a good deal with the law office, so this ordinance tonight is really just including an additional piece of property into that redevelopment, so that was the only thing for redevelopment that was on here tonight. The budget, Jim, great job as always. Your presentations are always very insightful, and I know, ladies, you said it was a lot to absorb, and it is a lot to absorb, and Jim has a great way about him of making the complex simple, and I think that's important because it helps our residents understand what you've done this year and how you're addressing the needs for this year. So again, thanks to you, your finance department, all the department heads and employees. It was a really tough one this year, and we're happy that we were able to accomplish what we did accomplish. And of course, the redevelopment monies that are coming in, and the hospital monies, the extra hospital monies that are coming in. When you take a look right now where we are, we're at 6.5 with redevelopment, and we're at 4.6 with the hospital. So you're looking at $11 million in revenue coming in, and we put that right to the bottom line. So that's directly reducing the amount of money that needs to be paid for by the people that live here, by us, by our residents and our tax bills. And all that for totally transparent, anything anyone wants to see. The budget, is it online yet, Jim? So the budget spreadsheet is online, and on the revenue page, they're all listed individually. So anyone who's curious and wants to learn or understand, all that revenue is explained there. And thank goodness for that, and we continue to see that grow and at least remains a stable revenue source for us for many years to come. To answer Mr. Serbo, what else was I having? I pretty much, again, congratulations, John. What would we do without you? You're a great mayor all these years, and you should be proud.
Blushing?
What would we do? No, you really, you've made our jobs easier, and you're here, and you really put your heart and soul into it.
It's a team effort.
It is a team effort, but we
Absolutely.
appreciate it. Let us give you some praise once in a while. We appreciate you and all you do.
Speaking of teen, Donna's over there, when you're asking for a coach, she's pointing to me, because I used to coach her when she was 5 or 6 years old.
Oh, there you
Yeah.
go, there you go.
She was blonder then, little blonder girl, bright blue eyes. I remember her, real good ball player though, back in
Well,
the day.
I'm not the sports person here. We've got Jerry, we've got Steffi, we've got John. But, it's so important. My grandchildren all play sports, and it's so important in their lives. And, I reach out like you did, Steph. It's hard. Everybody's busy in their lives. But, sometimes squeezing out an hour or two here or there really makes a big difference in a child's life. And it's important. It's important that we get them out on the street and playing ball and away from the phones, right? So it's an important thing that we look to do
Yes.
today. And it means a lot to the kids, so. And that's my statement. Go ahead, Jerry.
You're up.
All right, thank you, Mayor. Well, first of all, I'd like to thank everyone that's viewing remotely and all that are present today. Jim, again, thank you. It was a great presentation. And I'd like to really ask our city manager if he can really look into taking control of our speeding situation in the city, as well as a lot of this illegal parking that we got going on as well. We discussed a few issues earlier, and like to really get a hand on it, because it's really irritating a lot of our residents in our city. And John, everyone said everything else about you.
Uh-oh.
And that Unico award you do deserve, buddy.
Thanks,
Congratulations.
appreciate it. Thank you, Jerry. Jerry and I go way back. He coached my sons, I coached his sons.
Oh, yes,
And,
yes.
yep, had a lot of fun with sports.
And that concludes my report. God bless, and take care, everyone.
Okay, so we'll start with Jim. Great job. I know it was as tough as could be. I know you had Kathy and Leo breathing down your neck to get these numbers down. From where it started, it was amazing how you were able to bring it down, and we didn't lay anybody off. Last thing you want to do is furlough people or lay people off, and we didn't have to do that, so thank you for that. And 15 years ago, this would be an outrageously great budget at 3.5%, right? It'd be like, everybody would be like, yay. But, no, thanks for what you do. Opening day, again, it's great to see the kids on opening day, Saturdays, hopefully rain-free, we get some nice weather. Numbers, I don't know what the numbers are this year. Seems like they're probably about what we've been getting the last few years.
Yeah, around.
You know, baseball numbers have gone down tremendously in the city. There's other sports now during spring. Track for one of them. A lot of kids run track now. So baseball's gone down. We used to have close to 500 kids playing baseball in Hackensack, and it's probably in mid-twos right now, if that.
Spring
But,
track just jumped from 130 to 157.
Yeah, so they pull a lot of
I was talking to
kids.
Gerard today.
Yep. But it's America's sport, and I love to see the kids play. I have grandsons that play baseball. I love going to watch them. It was nice to see the rabbi here tonight, especially bringing his kids on a night like tonight. You know, the rabbi we spoke of was a great man because he knew what it was to educate children and to keep them involved and teach them to do things the right way. Had a great event at the Hack Pack Saturday night, and it didn't involve really Hackensack except for the fact that a coworker of mine who became friends with a man named Eddie Brigatti, and for those who don't know who Eddie Brigatti is actually a Rock and Roll Hall of Famer from the Rascals, which was a huge group back in the 60s and early 70s, very huge. They had a good run for like 4 or 5 years, then management issues, like so many bands, they ended up breaking up. So Eddie Brigatti got involved with this school. Brookdale College has a music division called the Rocket Live Academy, and it's all musicians who audition to get in. You just don't get in, you have to audition to get in. And they raise scholarship money for them, and that's what this event was about. So the kids that played were just unbelievable musicians and singers. They were unbelievable. They sang a lot. They did a whole lot of 60s stuff and a lot of Rascals songs. Eddie Brigatti got up and sang a couple songs. Some special guests were there, including Stephen Van Zandt from the E Street Band, a.k.a. What was his name in The Sopranos? Silvio. Yeah, he was there. Famous drummer by the name of Liberty DeVito, who was Billy Joel's drummer for years. So we had literally had possibly 3 Hall of Famers in there, in that little building. It was packed. That show sold out, by the way. We got together with Garfield because he's from Garfield. So Garfield doesn't have a performing arts center. So the coworker I spoke of and myself, he was telling me about it. I go, why don't you invite Garfield to Hackensack? They could use our place. So they came and did it here, and it was just a great show. And he was signing autographs, and they had all kinds of memorabilia at a silent auction. But it was good for the Hackback because people came from all over. More people got to see our great little theater. So I was happy about that. Volunteers for baseball, that's a problem today. People, 2 parents working. It's very, very difficult sometimes to get to find volunteers now. And but I can only say this about volunteering. It's one of the most rewarding things you can do, especially when you're coaching kids. The benefit you get from coaching is, especially when you see them as they grow older and become parents and good citizens, that's very rewarding. And I always say that on opening day, that I recommend all parents get involved. I want to thank you guys for the honor of the proclamation. I think that's my first proclamation ever. That's pretty cool. Yeah, nice.
That's good.
That was quite a surprise. They're honoring me on Sunday at the Grey Cliff in, where is it, Moonachie or whatever, but 4:30. So I'll be there eating and partying on Sunday. So thanks for that. Appreciate it. And with that, everybody have a safe trip home. We still have some more work to do. We have to go back into closed session for a little bit, but get home safe. Sure.
Motion.
All these buildings that went up, do
Mhm.
you advertise for coaches at these buildings? Do you have it posted in any of these buildings? Because I feel like it's just ones for parents.
It's actually a good idea.
It is, but we have very few children in the
Yeah.
buildings. Very.
Out there checking out.
I know.
Yeah.
I mean, we should certainly do it too, but it's not as much of an interest on.
Yeah.
And if you have nothing else
Can't hurt to try.
That's right.
If you don't ask, the answer's always no.
Thanks, Donna.
Motion to close.
Offer.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
None opposed. Get home safe,
Good
guys.
night, everyone.
Take care.
Good night.